Hello. Oh, music's already back on. Nice. Okay, so I have a bunch of shit to do today. It was a long night. Last night, I'm gonna potentially be playing in a band and singing in a band, which is kind of really cool. But it's also like stressful for me because it's something that I've always wanted to do. Like, I've sung with bands in the past, but they've never been my bands. And so I've sung with bands in the past, but I've never sung with my band because I've never had a band. And the possibility of having a band is a little stressful. Not in like I can't handle it kind of way, but more like in will it really finally happen kind of way. It's something that I've always really wanted ever since I was a kid. I enjoy singing a lot, like a whole lot. It makes me feel like, I don't know how to describe it. And it just makes me really happy. I really want to do it real bad, and I'm afraid to allow myself to want things. Does that make sense? Have you ever felt that way? Being afraid to allow yourself to want stuff? Yeah. So yeah, I stayed up last night, all night, thinking about this, catastrophizing, being like all sorts of just like, what if they're just like really excited in the moment and they don't actually want to do it? They have a keyboardist, a freaking badass lead guitar, drummer, a bassist, and then I'd be on vocals. And I was like, I could play guitar too if you want and stuff like that. And they're like, nah, we just want you singing. And I've never had an opportunity like that for my own band. Never. Anyway, yeah. So I'm really excited. And stressed out. But I'm hoping that it actually happens. Maybe a dream come true, literally. Like, my 14-year-old self wants this so goddamn bad, dude. And for it to finally happen, you have no idea. Like, when I was a kid, I would like literally like sing in the shower, pretending like I'm on stage, and just picturing myself. And the stage I was always on was always like a school band performance kind of a situation, like in a cafeteria or something. All my friends were there, and they would be like, "Whoa, you can sing really well," and like all this other stuff, and like that was my fantasy. To be acknowledged by my peers. Alrighty, so I'm gonna get to work on this project today. We're gonna do some more TPM stuff, and yeah, I'm actually excited about this work today too, because I get to potentially start working on part B of this new system, and then after that I can start testing it, which I'm very excited about. I'm smoking CBD. This shit actually mellows me out like a motherfucker. All right, let's get to work. All right, let's talk a little bit about the next ticket inside of the highest priority. I believe it's like 429 or something like that. Or 427. Just look in the next, the highest priority, the first ticket of the highest priority project cluster projects. Oh shit. %, 39% use for the week. Nice. I get that little bit of a fucking fan. Let's call it 3:10 p.m. for start time today. Oh, okay, so we already did NONCE. That's already set up. .441, that's the one. Okay. We did A, B. Setup complete. I think the flip to setup complete is a little bit out of order there. I think that's after we build the entire function for the API, all that sort of stuff. We need to build the back end before we add that to the back end for the front end of the application. If I thwack it out of midair, that'd be fucking cool. I want a bigger one so I can like thwack things out of midair. What are the next tickets in the actual project that we're currently in? Is there a ticket in this project where we actually add the dockside backend? So like the function that actually accesses the head scale API? Proxy on the server? Two 7-8. Can you give me the overview of 442 and 41? Where's 41? What is ticket 41? And then, what's left over in 442 exactly then? In relation to the current systems that we have? Quick question. Would it help more if I created a workflow regarding repo questions to first check the wiki instead of going directly to the code base? Because the code base should accurately reflect what's in the current repo. moving forward, it should never be stale. Like, this is something that is just literally always gonna be on to date. Eventually, I'm gonna add an auto scheduled Claude task that runs lint read and all the lint systems for that, so then you have nothing to worry about. Because, for example, I was asking this time around, like, look at the last question I asked. I think that would be a relevant question for that. If I asked specifically what is in repo, and then oh my goodness, it didn't update the head scale proxy name in the it didn't update that in the last time we ingested. We need to add a workflow rule for that, or something to cover that, because then that way it checks the names of everything, like functions, everything. It should re-ingest the entire file as a whole and update all of those parts. That's important when we're doing the git push ingestion. I don't understand why I didn't follow that. What's missing there? And if we could avoid putting it in the git push workflow and put it within the repo_wiki workflow that is inside that the git push workflow points towards, that'd be awesome. Well, for question one, renames are basically already covered within the workflow, because when we ingest, it's ingesting the conversation. I push per task. So if anything did change like that, it would be part of the conversation context. What would be the benefit of locking everything under LLM agent? It should just be wiki, because this is what the workflow that we're working on. yeah, propagation should auto apply too. I think that honestly it's the better approach. It's cleaner. It's as long as it matches Atlas and if it has to, or and if as long as it's matching the fucking repo, that's the most important part. No, I would definitely want for question 4 lint rename like the for lint read and lint link and all that sort of stuff. Lint, yeah, rename propagation is not redundant. It's gonna catch it if it was missed. It should literally basically make the workflow always true. Regarding just the wiki. And yeah, feel free to draft it. Summarized, please. Don't go crazy on the wording. I don't need a whole dissertation. All right, let's do a git push. Wait. It shouldn't be a separate workflow. It should be part of the actual ingestion workflow, like re-ingestion for the git push. That's the whole point of it. But can it be triggered as a separate workflow? That'd be kind of cool still too. But as long as it's still working, I mean, so maintenance passes, is it part of the actual re-ingestion workflow for the actual wiki git push? If that's the case, then go for it. Continue the git push, please. Thank you. So I can still run it separately. Let's also, before we do that, actually, let's run step 9 for the one that was fucked up. Let's do that real quick. Is it also updating any places where they're called? So like when it does the renaming, right? Does it also rename all the links and everything? Shit. Shit, I just realized. Okay, look at the BTW that we just had. So it's not updating the intent files nor the tickets. So it should update those as well. Unless, wait, I think the ticket connection, no, I think it's from the, I think it's vice versa. Shit. I think we need to add a similar workflow to Ticket Doctor to fix that workflow, but then we should also add lint update to this particular one. And then, yeah, add the intent file update to this particular workflow when it comes to the renaming, then have it trigger this particular step within Ticket Doctor as well, so it updates that through Ticket Doctor through a separate agent, and separate sub agent also for the intent file, corresponding intent file. I think that would keep it pretty simple, and it would also speed it up a little bit because it's happening parallel. So basically, as soon as it's done renaming, it has the name, gives the variable to the two sub agents, and the sub agents trigger the intent file update, and then the ticket workflow for the second sub agent, where it updates the ticket areas that reference the old name. And that's what I get for not making this a fucking Python spreadsheet where it's just variables. Yeah, definitely exclude historical. Also, after you're done with this one, before you actually do the git push, unless you already did it, it's okay if you did, just do a git push after this. I want to update when the wiki is called. I want your feedback first, one more time on this. Basically, anytime I ask a question on the repo, read the wiki first, because I think it'd be like faster, potentially, or more efficient in terms of reading context and all that sort of stuff. Just the wiki, you don't have to. Instead of reading the code, unless you think reading the code is more efficient. What do you think, actually? I'm kind of curious. No. No. So, like, basically do the planning. repo planner dot md file, and then basically what I want to do is have it so it basically does a so it also triggers not just for writing new code, but for also any questions regarding the repository. I gotta go to the bathroom.
converted into co-op apartments with kitchens, but they still kept every service that made it extraordinary. And now all luxury residential skyscrapers in NYC with hotel-level service have copied it ever since. This old building found a loophole, and billionaires wrote super calls copied it. New York City's ultra-wealthy never used to live in apartment buildings, and instead, private mansions are in many villages.
Regarding, so my answers are already set up. I would say yes, bullet now and this ship, and then for number 2, the build now, ship together, yes. But then the other thing I was gonna say was this. The workflow that we built for updating the names on every push, wouldn't that mitigate that? For the staleness, that is. I would like some feedback regarding that. So for the first issue with the functions, wouldn't that be updated within the git push workflow if it changed? I mean, that's part of it. Or is that not part of the current workflow? No, but the workflow that we just built, that we at least spec'd out, says that it also sends out the ticket doctor in a separate subagent to update those particular tickets. That's already part of it. We should also update the intent file if a question is no longer relevant. Actually, that's a big deal. That's another thing we should definitely update, because the re-ingestion should also reconsider the intent file. That last one regarding the path, I mean, isn't that part of the current workflow? Wouldn't that be reflected in the re-ingestion and the context of the conversation that is part of the actual re-ingestion? I would like some feedback regarding this. it should definitely be asking questions regarding the new functions and all that sort of stuff, and it should basically, if it'll have the auto answer within the conversation of the context window of the conversation, without a doubt. Without a doubt. It should have a record of that particular set of stuff, saying that, you know, the function was removed, why was it removed, all that sort of stuff. That question and answer can be assumed from the context window. When it re-ingests, it should be, when it re-ingests, it should be looking at the actual file again. So it should notice the fact that it's also not there too, on top of that. For the lint reads tail end, I think B, we should do it now. Yeah, it shouldn't update anything until after we do the push. It's only because otherwise you're going to be spending all these tokens changing one thing and changing another thing. Am I understanding that last external source body change approach question correctly? And yeah, it'll push the findings to the questionnaire, and then it can derive the answers from the conversation context. Is that not right?
These are all dead accomplished.
Run it, please, and thank you. Make it so.
What if this magnet could stay still and we could just change the pole?
Goku completely limbless, blinded, deaf, and at 1/1000th of his actual power solos him and doesn't even break a sweat.
Three bosses display Nightmare Slain, Ray Slaughter, Virgo's Wet Nurse, Moon Presence, and Orphan Claws. After defeating the Wet Nurse, the perpetually sobbing Green Yarn bows to the hunter and vanishes. Rom the Vacuous Spider was actually a Bergenworth student who was transformed by Koss. Master Willem is named after Willem Kuntz, founder of experimental psychology. His student actually split off and started a rival lab. So Willem and Lawrence's falling out actually mirror the real one. Annalise, Queen of the Vile Bloods, consumes blood dregs as a fertility ritual. If you look at the item art, it makes it a lot more obvious. And the item description states she partakes so she may bear the child of blood.
Ew.
Three bosses display
I don't understand why the fuck I play Bloodborne. I enjoy it because I enjoy the gameplay, but it is so fucking gross. Oh my god. Wait a second. What? It's still $120. A GoPro 5? Which one do I have? I think this is a 5. The 5 is that much? Oh no, they're selling the 13. $240. It literally is $120. God damn. I thought it was gonna be like $30 or some shit at this point. It's like a 10-year-old camera. All right. There is... What are the stale questions? I mean, if they're actually stale and you can verify they're stale, then they're good to go. Bye-bye. I mean, don't worry about the scheduling side of it. That's not your concern right now. We're not working on that. Focus. And tickets are only ever regarding the actual repository, not the workflows. So what's up with those stale questions though? Can we get rid of those? I mean, did you run it already? Did you run the workflow for the questions that were like basically we had file names that we had changed. Look at the conversation context. There was something that was stale and we updated it, but then we also re-updated the workflow again. I need the current repository to reflect the changes that were just recently done. And then wiki. So verify those, and then the actual updated workflow that we just did just now regarding the intent stuff. Because that wasn't part of it during the first pass through. Also tickets. So the re-ingestion for that one section, again, even though it's not going to change the names because now they're accurate, with the 2 sub-agents, that full workflow. Just to make sure that it's done correctly. It should not need any new intent questions or answers other than the ones that regarding the anything that was changed. But I believe those questions already exist, actually. I mean, in relation to deleting the old questions that are stale now inside of the intent. Yes, so the ticket stuff is part of the fan out though. So yes, A and B. But not just for the TPM registry area. Oh wait, that's in relation to the, well, anything that was updated in yesterday's push. Work log. That's all stuff that was worked on and didn't have this workflow for the git push. I'm so happy I did that. Wow, that's pretty fucking great. One last question. Should I do this on max effort? I think so. Run it. Okay, please continue. Thank you. This is gonna take a hot minute.
And the reminder, it doesn't have.
Yeah, auto rename. I mean, are they not accurate? I don't understand what the problem is. What is the actual problem right now? It should just be a mechanical rename. I don't understand what the problem is. What are they? I mean, besides the ticket status questions, I mean, it shouldn't be asking questions about ticket status. It should just be a mechanical renaming towards of the link. I don't understand why it's asking me questions about the tickets. The finished tickets were already moved to the side. I understand. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Some of the tickets here might have references to this stuff and might not be updated with the current context, which is fine. I really don't care. I mean, as long as I have the fundamental parts that I need of the ticket tasks, that's the most important part to me. As of right now, I don't care about the tickets being accurate to the current repository. That's not the goal. The goal is whatever, it's the links. That is the goal. Alright, let's see. 35, and I have until 7 p.m. Alright, we have 3 hours. I might be able to get some actual work done, hopefully. But it should be pruning the no longer relevant intent questions. Does that make sense? Should have done that. That should be part of the workflow. It should have done that. That should be part of the workflow. I think the workflow is delete the old ones and replace them with the new ones. That's the purpose of the stale questions. I don't. Is that does that fit within the current workflow? I mean, all of this stuff should have been done within the current workflow. I don't understand why it's asking me what to do with it when it's the workflow should be stating it. Is it missing it? I need to know that. God damn it. Hopefully this will be the last time I do this for like a little bit at least. I really want to get to work on my other stuff, dude. But honestly, okay, so you're saying if a function changes, if it should be, is that the case that this is? Like if let's say like a function is not deleted, a function changes, that the question and intent answer should be amended or deleted and then the new question replaces it. Is that what am I understanding that correctly? Yes. Well, if that's the case, it should be asking a new question, assuming a new answer from the conversation. So basically, I mean, that's semantics at that point. It's either way, the old question gets deleted and it gets replaced with the new answer as well. So I mean, replace the old question with the new question, answer it in relation to the current context, and then you're good to go. I mean, at this point, I have enough stuff that I shouldn't even really be answering intent answers.
Tell me one Pink Floyd song. One. Exactly.
Gotta go to the bathroom.
Tell me one.
Yep, do it up. Alrighty, so we finished this thing, and now we're gonna continue with the tickets. Let's talk a little bit about the last thing that we changed. We're gonna research before we started this workflow changes. Can you give me a reminder of that? There should have been a thing about a ticket. I asked you to do something and then like read into it. Can you give me the full context of everything from that point back? I'm gonna do a clear and then I'm gonna basically give that to the next model for session for context. We're at 42%. Okay, we got enough context to actually work with this for like the next couple of hours. That is actually a pretty full. Continuing the workday. This is pure context. Continuing the workday, this is pure context, session 2. My particular question is regarding the ticket that holds the context, the dock side of this head scale proxy API. Oh wait, it's part of the same ticket? Project cluster? And yeah, that's what we want to do. I'm asking the question regarding that, so I would like to look into that. I want to know if that's the correct next ticket for the dock side API function that would then access the API to enable head scale to, although I also need to make it on the server side too. Fuck. Well, you get what I'm saying. The coordination of those two sets of functions. I want to see if it does it. Yeah, but are you not following the workflow? Why are you not following that? Is there something I should add to this to make it so you do follow that workflow? Because this is the problem that we had in the previous conversation where we sidetracked to work on the workflow. Yeah, let's do propose the cloud.md update, whatever it needs to make it so anytime I ask a question regarding the repository, be it tickets or be it the actual repository itself, that it runs through that workflow. And then just you're greenlit for it. I don't. It's so minimal. Like it's a edit that I'm aware of that you're doing, and then after that, just let's ask the question correctly and run it from there. Also, should this be max 2? For the planning stuff? In relation to your question up above, A. but add it to the actual workflow. And honestly, but add it to the actual workflow, not to Claude.md. Claude is just pointing towards the workflow. It should not be trying to coordinate, like knowing what kind of effort levels, none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Greenlit. Where the fuck did I put my cell phone? Uh-oh. It's very frustrating because I still get the blurriness, I still get the noise. But yeah, I think just like the AI stuff will help a lot with that. It's just frustrating that I'm never taking fucking in lens stabilization for granted. Holy shit, dude. That's why they make those so expensive. Well, at least I got a 300mm lens. It's not going to be perfect shots, but it's something, you know? So do the server side functions first, then the dock side functions that correspond to that. I mean, that makes sense, dude. So 442, if you look at yesterday's work, it should have been, like, in terms of A and B of this section, it's done. Just look at the the work log from yesterday. And then, yeah, I think honestly doing the server side, if that's what 248 is, and I know 278 is the dock side now, but is 248 the let me see what's in here actually. Oh no, it's node delete. I see that's only node delete, but I think we should also just add to it right away the fucking head scale, user creation, all those functions. Like literally that should just be all of the server side functions that coincide with the actual head scale API. I decided against the timestamp. I decided against that already. I wish it would have updated that ticket. I should have updated that. My bad. The handling those particular nodes and like the expiration, it's not going to expire because it's tied to the TPM chip, so it should never expire. That should be what the updated version of that timestamp area is. It's basically, we should update that ticket to basically not have. Wait, was claim nonce added to the database outline from the update that we had from yesterday's workflow? Is that an updated, like, is that updated from that? Both of those are for number 3. claim status is pushed by the actual application, and that's another thing that's actually within the server side that's touched by the doc accessing the proxy API. Let's just take this one step. Let's just take this one step at a time. Let's just talk about. We don't have to fan out the entire project right now. Let's just talk about the next step, okay? Because I feel like you're just throwing a lot and making a lot of decisions based off of stuff that could change. So we're just talking about the next step. I think the next step should be touching the server API functions and prepping them for the dockside functions. Now, what I think we should do regarding that okay. I was just watching a freaking meme. Alright. We should prep them to... Oh fuck, and then I just realized we need to actually go back one more layer to actually prep the functions for the actual TPM creation. Oh, fuck. Okay. So, here's the order of what I think we should do. Prep the TPM functions. I mean, unless they already exist. Because that one TPM API literally is just for that. It's just for adding more TPM numbers to the SQL database. That's it. If it already exists, then that's done. Number two, we need to prep the functions for the head scale stuff and the TPM database updates from anything that it receives from the doc side. So this is for the server API, the one that the doc corresponds to, that serves as a proxy API for head scale. I think we might need to rename that. Now that I think about it, it should be called Doc Server API. Is that what it's currently called? I'm just double checking that. Fuck. We might need to update a bunch of shit if we do that. Oh, fuck. Because it's a better name. Server API is too ambiguous. It could be anything. It could be technically any API as a server API. Fuck. Okay. But let's keep going. So, let's save that for end of day, to be honest. If we go that route. If it's not already a thing. Okay. So next step. Then we prep the doc API functions that connect to the server side API and do all the head scale stuff and all the other functions that we prepared. And that is as far as I want to get today. That's like the goal. That's like the next set of steps. I ended up talking about only doing one step, and then I ended up fucking laying down 3. Wait, no. Wait a minute. No. We're not looking into how to do it right now. What we're looking to is if my plan makes sense. In the sense of like the order of operations. God damn it, dude. I fucking fucked up. This fucking workflow sucks. You're asking me too many fucking questions. Now, use the fucking workflow regarding my question only covering that TPM register question. That's my... You see what I'm saying? Like, just one question and a short, quick response. Does it exist? Does it not exist? I don't need an overview. Does it exist as I described? That's it. That's it. If I have more questions, I will ask more questions. Okay, now one step back. Does the Linux side connect to that API? It already has the key. I just realized I should have added it to this and then just fucking done a git push. Fuck. I want to copy that. I want to push it from my Linux machine to my repository. But let's look at the script though beforehand regarding the API. As a one-time action and then add it to my git ignore. That way it doesn't pass it down to the GitHub. Can I get the command for pulling the API key from my Linux machine? Oh, okay, sweet. I didn't realize that the .env, just stating .env would fucking ignore any .envs. That's fucking great. Oh my goodness. Alright, I should have copied my... Let's see... Alright, cool. Alright, awesome. So TPM registration currently is ready to go. Is it actually what I just want to double check though? It's actually using the current TPM virtual emulation, right? Not using a different thing, right? It's using the do I need to install a binary or some sort of library or some sort of tool to be able to also coordinate that with the dock? Because it has to be pushed on the image build, right? I haven't built them yet, so I have never installed any of these. These are the tools that I basically need to install in order to be able to coordinate the two systems. They're already ready to coordinate with each other via scripts. I just don't have the actual tools installed yet. Alright. Alright. CD. Awesome. Alright, I installed them. Can I get a verification script real quick? Solid, solid, solid. Okay, so now we're basically moving on to the server side stuff. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the functions that we need for that. So we're going to need the ability to basically the head scale capability. So we need that inside of the functions folder. We need a folder that is, nope, we need a file where all of the head scale functions are going to live. On the server side, right? And then we need to tie the API to those functions, so then that way it can access the head scale API. It'll pull the head scale API key from .env on the server, so essentially this. Basically here we use every last bit of the paper that we possibly can. So here we go. So basically what we have is this. We have a function. Oh no, we have the API. We have hold on. We have env .env on the server. API doc. I'm already assuming that it was already able to connect, so we're further up the chain upstream. Well, technically downstream, technically, but also technically upstream. I don't know how that actually kind of functions out. That's kind of weird. All right, that's besides the point. Okay, so these are the functions. So, doc connects to API. API pulls env. env goes into API. API calls the functions. Functions connect to the head scale API. And then return like that. Basically, this is all upstream from, downstream. Basically, this is after the doc connects to the API. So, everything regarding after the connection. So, first, the API calls the API key for head scale from the .env file. It then utilizes the and stores it as a variable within the API. So it lives in the instance of memory of the API. Then we pull it function based off what the input was from the doc. So that's a secondary variable. What's the action that's actually being taken? So you're receiving the action and the connection request. You connect, it pulls the API key. It does not send it to the doc. It exists within the API itself. It's never being sent to the doc. Then after that, the action that was called from the doc pulls the function, populates the head scale API variable from the function with what it pulled from the .env file, then runs the function, it gets the return, and then sends the return back to the dock. Simple enough, right? This is just the overall architecture, right? So let's verify this first. And then we can start talking about what functions go there. And we should do this for. The variables already exist. That. My bad, dude. I mean, wouldn't it be cleaner to have one .python file? For the head scale functions? I mean, wouldn't that make sense? That's for number one. For number two, regarding the key, I mean, what would you recommend? What is the standard practice? I'm really kind of lost in relation to that kind of stuff. Regarding key locality, what would you recommend? I would like your feedback on that. Yeah. All right, so yeah, what I described then. Okay, cool. For number 2. All right, perfect. So you basically agree with what I said for 1 and 2. For number 1, have one file that has the head scale functions, and for number 2, have it exist module wide. But it only exists when the actual, it's only populated when the actual API instance is started, correct? That way it only lives in memory. Even though it's a constant, it lives in memory, like RAM. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Let's I want to see what it does. Aha! Solid. That's perfect. Hold on. Alright, let's deploy these real quick first. And then... Let's do that first. Yeah, it's probably not going to let you. It's probably not going to let you. Perfect. Oh shit. It's dark time. Fuck. Leia! Let's go inside, baby girl. Dollface, let's go inside. Okay, we back. Why? Wait, why is the permission denied for that? Weird. Permission denied for the local? Four C and then ends with 0C. 4Z and it ends with 0C. Good. I might have taken the password incorrectly. Yep. Okay. Why permission denied? I need a sudo. It needs to be sudo. God damn it. RM minus F. Why didn't it prompt me? It didn't prompt me for the sudo password. Okay. All right. So that's the server side functions. What tickets cover this? Does this close any tickets in this particular project or any tickets in particular? let's update the tickets with the notes regarding this current progress. Then we need to add a step to those tickets regarding the dockside functions. We also need to update the app itself. Is there a ticket that involves that already? I just want to make sure. I know that's way further downstream, but I just want to make sure it exists at the very least. If it exists, then we don't need to worry about it. About adding that to these tickets. But definitely do the update. Finally raining for real.
So something that happened to me this
Solid. Run it. So I don't need to do the app side coverage for the first 3. Verifying first. I don't need to do the app side coverage yet, right? Update, right? Okay. That's just my question, but other than that, yes, use auto mode. Perfect. One more update to add to these tickets, actually, to the dockside one, that we need to make it dependent on if there is already a head scale user associated with the TPM block of the database. So we also need a fucking function, oh my god, on the server side that is capable of actually reading the database row for the corresponding TPM public key. Doesn't the second question, like all three tickets basically correspond to the same exact section? Whichever one is the most general one, I guess. What do you think about that? Because honestly, I think they're all pretty much associated with the same section. Run it. I'm always going to use plenty mode moving forward. Jesus Christ, it's so much better. Alrighty, cool. All these tickets correspond to the same projects, right? Like to the same project priority cluster. Just a quick yes or no. Then let... Okay. Okay, now let's go ahead and do a git push for all the stuff that we just worked on. Make sure you cover all the steps, please. Thank you. It's been raining all day today, and let me tell you something. Ever since they mentioned El Nino as like a drought season out here, I've been fucking grateful for every single rainfall. It completely changed my perspective on rainfall. Because fuck droughts. I've lived in drought zones. I know what that shit is like. I lived out in LA. I've lived in like fire country. I've fucking a month and a half actually, fucking sun blocked out by smoke. So yeah, fuck that shit. Anyway, this is gonna be doing a git push, and then we're gonna continue with the next section, maybe, or I might pause. We'll see. Alright, I'm gonna pause recording though for now at least. Yeah, we'll call it end of day. Just double checking, it did do the intent files, questionnaires, all that stuff, right? It did all of the stuff. I see it on the list. I just want to make sure it's actually done. And it also removed any stale questions, all that stuff, right? And the intent files. Perfect. Just give me a quick outline of what we're gonna do tomorrow. Really brief, really brief, not crazy, please. Okay. I'm also gonna add, you don't have to respond to this yet, but I'm also gonna add that we need to add the testing for all of these API functions as a ticket that we need to add to the testing systems project. Perfect. Alright, that's it. Alrighty. I decided to call it a day today just because it's 6:51 and I'm trying to go to bed early. I want to play fucking Bloodborne for like 2 hours before bed, and then I'm going to try to see if I can go to sleep by 9:30 p.m. That's the goal. Maybe eat a little bit of food, maybe 10 p.m. Alright, so that's the goal. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to call it a day with this workflow today. It was a pretty short day, to be honest, like 4 hours. Not too much work done. I could have done more. Let's see how many hours actually. 3 hours 31 minutes. Alright. I hope you have a lovely night. Thank you for joining me. I'm gonna be playing some Bloodborne while watching One Piece. 3, 2, 1.